guys, Sid from Sid's Trains here, and today I'm doing a follow-up on my quarantine train projects video. So, a couple videos ago I did a video on some projects I've been working on during this quarantine due to the coronavirus, and the main thing that I've been working on is upgrading the lighting on trains, and one of them was this Yellow Belly Hudson here. And I had a couple comments about what the products that I used, what were the products I used, and how did I do it. So I decided I would make a video on how to do it and what the products I use. So we're here at my workbench, and I'm going to show you this example here of what I did, and then I'm going to show you an engine that I'm going to start working on, adding the LED headlight and the LED backup light to it. So first let me show you some tools you'll need, the products you need, and then we'll get into working on some engines. So first off, some of the tools you'll need is, since we're going to be doing some wiring, you're definitely going to need a soldering iron, and this is just a Weller soldering iron that I've had for a while. I got it a couple Christmases ago and it works well. And you can buy inexpensive ones, or you can buy very nice ones with adjustable temperature. This is just a basic one that I have hooked up to a potentiometer so I can adjust the temperature and the power going to it. Next, you'll obviously need some solder. This is just some fine soldering wire. And you definitely don't want stuff that has lead in it. If you have old solder, definitely make sure it doesn't have lead in it, because you don't want to be soldering and get lead and inhale and all that. It's just bad for you, so you definitely don't want that. Next, something that will be helpful is having some kind of flux. Flux cleans whatever you're soldering, and it makes the solder bond to whatever you're soldering. There's two different types. The first kind is usually in this kind of container here, and if you take the top off, it's this kind of gooey substance that I use a paintbrush here and then brush it onto whatever surface. And this can work, and you can dip the wires in there, and that works. And then another kind, this is meant for more circuitry and circuit boards. This is a liquid flux. I have it in this little tube, and I use this pretty often. And it's nice, and it just kind of, if you put one drop onto the wire, that's all you need. So just some kind of flux, and that will help you with soldering. Next, you'll need, I use this. You don't have to have this, but your soldering iron will get dirty when you're soldering things. So you can use a Scotch-Brite pad, or I have this steel wool here, and this works to clean it off. Or you can use a sponge, which is under here. I also use a sponge. Then something over here that I have that is, of course, not totally necessary, but is helpful with soldering, is this. I call it, and most people call it, like a helping hands, and it has these little clips and a magnifying glass, and allows you to have things be held, and then you can solder. And I use it to hold wires together when I'm trying to solder them. And the next thing, of course, is the products that you will need, and let me show you those products now. So here are the products that you will need to add LED headlights or LED lighting in your passenger cars, as I did. First thing, of course, is you need the light. These are warm white LED diodes that are rated for 3 to 3.2 volts, and these are what I used for my headlights in my Crusader that I showed in the quarantine video, and in this Yellow Belly back here. And you can also use them for marker lights, or even the lights in your passenger cars. But something that's a little bit better for that kind of setup is this. This is a LED strip. Again, it is a warm white color, and that's kind of makes it look factory and not that kind of blue-white color that some LEDs have. And this comes in a strip, and it makes it a lot easier to do the soldering and all that for the passenger cars, as you don't have to solder a ton of wires and LEDs together. Something else you could also, and then before I show you what I was about to talk about, the final thing you'll need is then resistors. These are 300 ohm resistors. These work real well, and it allows the LEDs to not burn out when you are running the track voltage at high voltage. Of course, As I said before, these LEDs are usually only rated for about 3 volts, and we run our trains, at least in command mode, at 18 volts, and of course that's too much power. So these are 300 ohm resistors, and these are what I use. You can also use a higher ohm resistor, like a 400 ohm, and they'll work. It's just that'll make the headlight dimmer, or whatever kind of lighting dimmer in your train. So you can do a little research into what kind of resistor you'll need. There's LED calculators on the internet, and you can figure that out. But for the products I have here, I would use a 300 ohm resistor. And I'll be showing you how to put all this together in a second when I do some soldering. But another product you can buy is these pre-assembled LEDs. As of course the LEDs are already made for you, don't have to like totally build them, mold them, all that. But the resistors and the wires are all apart, like this ribbon wire here is what I use. It's this kind of computer ribbon wire, and it's nice. But these come kind of pre-assembled. There's the LED diode, there's a resistor in here. As you can see, it's a little kind of fat right here under the shrink tubing, and that's the resistor. And then there's wires, and then you can just hook this up to some kind of power source. You can hook it up to track power, battery, whatever you want, and this just allows you to do less soldering. But personally, these are not the best, as you can't get them in a lot of colors. Like the warm white, you can't really find them. So if you would like a warm white color, you definitely should buy them, the LEDs separately. But if you just want a red, or just all the colors of the rainbow other than warm white, you can buy these in a pack of 100, and they'll have blue, green, red, purple, everything, yellow, all the things you need. But it's hard to find warm white LEDs in this. But if you don't want to do a lot of soldering, this is probably what you could use, and it'll make your life easier. But I personally like to do soldering, and I use these products. And as I said before, this is the ribbon wire. This is what I use in the case of trains that I remove the wiring. Like this is the light that I took out of this yellow belly Hudson back here, and this ribbon wire is what I use. And you can buy that online as well. And I'll be posting links in the description for where to find all these different products. So if you have any question about those, you can just click those links and go look at them on Amazon or wherever I find the links for them. So now let me show you what my yellow belly Hudson in the back here looks like with the new upgraded LED headlight, and then I will show you. I'll show me soldering some new stuff for another engine LED headlight. And if I turn off my one light here, there we go. You can see. I can actually turn this light off as well. There we go. You can see the warm white headlight, and I also upgraded the number boards as well. So it's just a constant, nice warm white headlight, and it's much better than before. So here's the engine that I'm going to be working on. This is my Lionel B6 switcher. It's from 1989, and of course it doesn't have a LED headlight. And as you see, the headlight is fairly bright, but I'd like to add a LED headlight so it can be brighter and just a more warm white color. So let me turn the light off here so you can kind of get a before picture. And that's what it looks like before we add the LED headlight on. And as you see, it's this small little grain of wheat bulb, very similar to the yellow belly. Here's the yellow belly headlight, and as you can see, it's pretty much the exact same bulb. And it works well, and there's nothing really totally wrong with it. Regular bulbs in trains are perfectly fine. If you have trains with regular old bulbs on them, there's nothing wrong with them. I just personally like to have LEDs as they draw less current and make the amperage go down, and it just looks a little better. It's a more constant stream of light. So I'm going to be changing this to an LED headlight. So now let me get everything situated here, and I'll be showing you how to solder all the stuff together, and then we'll be attaching it to this train. See, this little pin here is longer than this pin here. most LEDs will come with this kind of setup where this pin is longer, and in that case the long pin is always positive, so you always want to connect this long pin to the center rail connection on your train, and then this smaller connection you want to connect to either the E-unit frame or the motor frame or just the frame in general, or the outside rails where the wheels touch. You want to make sure it's connected to ground. So with the pins on the LEDs cut, the next thing you will need is your resistor. And of course you don't want anything to be too long, so on this one end of this resistor, it may be hard to see, but the one end of this resistor I've cut most of it off and I've just left a little bit of the wire left. So then with that in place, I will take my helping hands here and connect these together and then get them close to each other, pretty much touching. And with them touching, you then take your flux. In this case, I'm going to use the liquid flux that I talked about before, and I'm going to squeeze the bottle until I get a little drop on there. And with that little drop, that will, when I touch the soldering iron to it, it will become, it'll clean the surface and then allow the solder to bond to that surface and allow a better connection. So now that I have my soldering iron warmed up, I'll tin the end of my soldering iron with some solder, and then I'll take the solder over to the pin and add some solder to it. There we go. The LED is turned on, as you can see, and it's a nice bright warm white color. So first I gotta remove the old bulb, and for that I'll just take some wire cutters here. These are actually strippers, and I'll just cut the old bulb off. This has a bunch of like old electrical tape on it. It's nasty, and of course it's that bulb, so don't need that anymore. It can just go in the trash can. And now that we have these two wires, this wire on top here goes to the E-unit, so that is the ground, and then this one of course goes to center rail power, which is the long part of the LED with the resistor on it. So first I'll just start off by stripping just a small amount off of these. And that exposes the wire on the inside. I'm going to do the same for the power here. And with that, I'm then going to solder these onto here and add some shrink tubing, and then make sure it can sit into this little holster here that was there before, and then that'll be about it. So let me, I'll show you some of the soldering that I'll be doing, and then I'll show you the finished result. And let's see if this has worked. There we go. The headlight is illuminated, and it's this nice color, and it works perfectly. I don't see anything overheating or anything like that. No smoking, nothing. Looks great. So here's the engine all put back together, and the headlight looks great. It's actually, the engine's actually smoking right now. If you can see, I have the E-unit off, so it's just sitting here. It's kind of fun. It's just smoking a little. But as you can see, the headlight looks great. It's a nice warm white color, and let me turn off the lights here so you can get a better look. So here's our after shot. Look how bright that is. It's really glowing in the dark. It looks great, and it's not some kind of cool white color. It's this nice warm white color that would be similar to what a real train would have on it. So now let me show you a before and after shot, and then I'll show you one more thing before wrapping this video up. So for those of you who are more interested in the passenger car lighting, I soldered up a strip here. As you see, we have the wire here, then we have a resistor here, then the LED strip, and then on this side of the strip we have the ground, just wire. So with the power on, you can see we have this nice warm white color, and it looks great, and this is the kind of setup you would use for inside of your passenger cars. So I hope you guys found this video interesting, and I hope it was enjoyable. I tried to kind of just show you some of the things I had to do this upgrade, show you the products I used, and overall just kind of a how-to-ish kind of video. It was definitely fun for me to make, as this is kind of different from what I normally do. But it was definitely something that was fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. As always, like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications, comment below, and tell others about the channel. I'm Sid, and I'll see you next time, guys.